Hi Sam. I'm really excited about today's word. We're going to learn
deutlich,
Hi Alex. What does
deutlich,
mean?
deutlich,
means clear or distinct in English. It's often used to describe something that's easy to understand. The most common usage is when you're talking about communication, like speaking clearly.
That makes sense. Are there any false friends with this word?
Good question. While
deutlich,
sounds a bit like,
detailliert,
it actually doesn't mean that. So be careful not to confuse them.
Got it. Can you tell me more about the grammar?
Absolutely.
deutlich,
Is an adjective, so it doesn't have a plural form. You can use it with different articles depending on the noun. For example, you might say,
eine deutliche Antwort,
for a clear answer. In the comparative form, you say,
deutlicher,
and the superlative is,
am deutlichsten,
So I would say,
die Antwort ist deutlicher.
when I want to compare.
exactly. And in terms of opposites, you can use,
undeutlich,
for unclear or indistinct.
That's really interesting. Where does the word
Deutlich,
come from?
deutlich,
Comes from the old High German word,
deutlich,
which means of the people or popular. Over time, it evolved to mean something that is well defined or clear.
Wow, so it has a rich history.
Yes, it does. Now, let's break it down. The root of
deutlich, deut,
which means to make clear. There's no prefix or suffix to separate here, but if we were to add a suffix like,
lich,
it generally forms adjectives.
deutlich,
Is just one solid piece.
Exactly. It's a great example of how some words are built up.
Are there similar words too?
deutlich,
Sure. Let's look at some similar words. First, there's,
deutliche,
which is just the adjective in a different form. Then we have,
deuten,
which means to interpret. Another one is,
Deutlichkeit,
meaning clarity.
I see. What about some with the same suffix?
Good thinking. Here are a few.
freundlich,
Meaning friendly.
eindeutig,
meaning unambiguous, and
lebendig,
meaning lively. Each of these shares the
lich,
ending.
And they all seem to describe a quality.
Exactly. Now let's consider some phrases where you might use.
deutlich,
For example, if you're giving a presentation, you might say,
ich spreche deutlich,
which means I speak clearly.
Let me try.
Ich spreche deutlich.
Perfect. Another situation could be at a meeting.
könnten Sie das bitte deutlicher erklären?
Meaning, could you please explain that more clearly?
Könnten Sie das bitte deutlicher erklären?
I think I got it.
Great job. Now, let's think about gender memory hints. Since
Deutlich,
is an adjective, it doesn't have a gender, but you can remember it with the image of a clear glass, which helps you think of clarity.
That's a nice visual.
For usage notes,
deutlich,
is quite neutral, so it's used in both formal and informal contexts. You might often hear phrases like
deutlich machen,
meaning to make clear, or
deutlich sichtbar,
meaning clearly visible.
Are there any words that are similar and could confuse me?
Yes. Be careful with,
deutlich,
which is incorrect, and
undeutlich,
which means unclear. Those can trip you up if you're not careful.
Can you give me some example sentences?
Sure. Here are a few.
die Ansage war nicht deutlich,
Meaning the announcement was not clear. And
sie hat die Regeln deutlich erklärt.
meaning she explained the rules clearly.
Die Ansage war nicht deutlich.
Makes sense to me.
You're doing great. Now, let's quickly recap. What is the meaning of
Deutlich,
It means clear or distinct.
correct? And can you tell me its comparative form?
It's
Deutlicher.
Right again. What's the opposite of
deutlich,
that would be
Undeutlich.
excellent? Now, can you give me an example of a situation where you might use
deutlich,
maybe when I'm talking in a meeting.
perfect? And finally, what's the origin of
deutlich,
It comes from the Old High German word.
Deutlich.
Great job, Sam. You've really grasped the word.
deutlich.
Remember, it's all about clarity in communication. Keep practicing, and you'll use it naturally in no time.
Thanks, Alex. I'm excited to use it.